Attention all Vinnlandians. Attention all Vinnlandians. The following is a mandatory Spiral Architect broadcast of the Vinnland Entertainment Review Board. I repeat, this is a mandatory program. Unadherence is punished. Stay tuned for the VERB broadcast.
Attention all Vinnlandians and all ships at sea. This is Verb, the Vinnland Entertainment Review Board, starring your hosts, War and Peace and Carl Gustav.
Over one night, 3 Spiral Architects got together to watch 3 lesser-known Sean Connery movies. War and Peace, Carl Gustav, and Abigail Nolan accepted this mission with trepidation. Their quest was to see if these movies are acceptable to watch for the Vinnlandic people. The adventure was fraught with peril. Mistakes were made, people were lost, and in the end, 3 movies were reviewed. This is their journey. In this episode, we wrap up our commentary and decide what we thought about these 3 Sean Connery movies.
So we watched 3 Sean Connery movies, back to back to back.
It was a Connery
A thon.
It was good to see that side of him.
The bad side.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's a good side at this point.
It's true. He's not shining on us right now.
No. Red October? Was that
Oh, that's
With
good.
his terrible Russian accent.
Yeah, like, was it good in that?
Yeah,
Rising
what
Sun?
if everything
Sun
we
looks
thought
good.
was a good Connery movie
It isn't 'cause of
only
Connery.
looks good because the rest are so bad?
Like other than James Bond, obviously.
No, that's classic.
I think he uses the third best Bond, so.
Second, or no, third for me too.
Are you nuts? Who's in front of Connery?
Daniel Craig and Timothy Dalton.
Oh!
Oh, yeah, I said it.
Timothy Dalton.
What are you, on
no,
drugs?
come on.
What are you
I
talking
thought you were going to
about?
say Hairy Chest.
Hairy chest.
Remington Steele.
Gross. No, Pierce Brosnan would be like, he's not my least favorite's Roger Moore. So
I like Roger.
My favorite.
He's probably my second favorite. Yeah, he'd be my third favorite. I like Daniel Craig. Sean Craig.
Connery.
No, Daniel Craig's the best.
Anyways, yeah, these movies. So Zardoz, a wonderful masterpiece. Took a little while to get into it, but by the end,
I
think
was
we
still
learned a
not
lot.
into it.
Carl loves it. Abby, not so much. I was in the middle.
I don't love it, but it is a guilty pleasure of mine.
I think it had a lot to say about immortality and
Religion.
God. Yeah.
Playing God, and the results of controlling the masses through lies and deception.
It's just unfortunate that out of the 106-minute long movie, 100 minutes was boring.
Boring.
Yeah.
Yes.
Visually, at no point was it boring.
Yes,
Well,
it was.
It was
I was
pretty.
bored.
Ireland is pretty.
I was bored the whole time.
So then we move on to Meteor.
Which is a lot of fun.
It was fun,
There's a lot
but
of
it
poo.
was Connery wasn't great in it.
No.
His lapels were,
Yes.
Yes.
but he was not.
Carl Malden,
was the star.
he
Yeah,
stole the movie.
He stole the movie. And
He's my third favorite Carl.
yeah,
Behind Marx and...
Me.
Gustav, yes.
Yeah.
That's his first favorite is himself. What else with Meteor? I don't know if this is the thing with Meteor was it was just an average movie, I would say.
Right, it wasn't spectacular. Connery wasn't
No,
spectacular.
there's nothing really spectacular.
Carl
other than
Malden getting like frothy at the mouth when he's yelling at Martin Landau.
The only thing
That's
spectacular
awesome.
about that movie is the days when it comes on screen.
Monday.
Spectacular.
And Shots on Saturday. Definitely made
Yeah.
that movie.
Shots on Saturday.
That's when Austria got snowed in.
Yeah.
So you have to have shots. Yeah. Pooh.
That is the best part, is all the poo. I mean, it wasn't a great disaster movie until everybody is covered in shit.
Well, this one over here, he just wanted to see New York pulverized.
Right.
And
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it did
It-
pulverize.
it
It didn't disappoint.
So
No.
what? So What I don't understand is they did destroy the big meteor, but those were like the small ones.
Oh, the whole Earth just got nuked. That's what Armageddon was about, how you can't leave those little ones, right? That's why they had to drill it, so it would move apart. Because if you just blew it up, there'd be a bunch of little ones coming. Mm-hmm. That's the movie Armageddon's about. This movie's like, fuck it, we'll just blow it up.
Right.
Armageddon was a response to Meteor.
I think so.
They said, you know what? In our movie, we can't make the same mistakes.
New York got destroyed in Meteor. We'll not let New York get destroyed.
Which would have made Armageddon a better movie.
Was Armageddon the one where, like, every single famous landmark got hit by a meteor, but nothing else? Or was that Deep Impact?
That was Deep Impact.
Where it's just like, hey, here's the Statue of Liberty. Boom, meteor hits it. Hey, here's the Eiffel Tower. Boom, meteor hits it. Here's the Coliseum. Boom, meteor hits it. It's like, what the... It's like targeting famous landmarks.
Well, they actually said that... I'm pretty sure it was this movie that they said that had this movie not happened, Armageddon and Deep Impact couldn't happen.
Yeah, of course. This was groundbreaking.
Yes.
Then I'm kind of wishing that this movie had never happened. Another piss poor Ben Affleck vehicle for him to show his
Deep Impact is a good movie, though.
I watched Deep Impact, and I think I saw that at the theater when it came out.
Yeah, Meteor was fun, but it just, it was 70, so it was a little slow.
I didn't think it was slow at all. Carl Malden, his acting was at 11 right from the get-go.
But he was phenomenal. He really was. He was the only person in the movie that I went, God, he's really taking this seriously.
And some of the facial expressions he'd make. And
the general, the same thing. The two of them were just like...
Martin Landau?
chewing scenes. Yeah.
As soon as they got on the camera went to them, they went... There was no subtlety. There was no, seething. They just went...
Where Connery was, the subtle guy in the movie for some reason. He was almost non-existent. He was almost not even important to be in that movie. Holden could have been that part, right?
Yeah, he didn't.
Why was Connery there?
No. I'm guessing because you had to have some strife. No, you didn't. There was
he didn't. He served no purpose in the movie.
The USSR strife was the real...
The general versus the Russian scientists.
Yeah, you had military versus science. You had Russia versus the United States.
And the Earth versus a meteor.
And yes, and at no point did you need Sean Connery, who was a raceboat captain at that point.
And his wife, or his ex-wife, we can't figure out if he was an adulterer or not, just showing up for no reason. That scene was useless.
I know. Her sitting on the phone. So, where are you going this time?
He should have been like, I hope the meteor hits your house. I wish your house was the Eiffel Tower, because it would hit it.
I'm just trying to save the world. I can understand why you think...
Stop nagging at me.
Yeah, you got to give me crap over trying to save the world. I get that.
I understand my alimony's a week behind. I understand that.
But,
I got bigger things on my plate right now.
I know you think you're the center of the universe, but at this moment, the entire...
And I know you're living with that tool boy. I know he's living there with you. I shouldn't have to PayPal him.
I can hear him in the background. Pedro, I can hear you back there.
Si, senor. Si, senor.
Meteor hits with the head.
I'm telling you what, I'm loving the reviews of Meteor on IMDb.
Well,
it's like one person is scathing, this is the worst movie ever made. Then the next person's like, I'm going to defend it in 5 steps. And first, here's why I'm defending it. And it's
I can't see how this movie could be so polarizing. It's pretty milk toast.
I would say to have a vehemently one side or the other.
Meanwhile, Zardoz, almost everybody loved it. Which is odd. Where that movie you could see it'd be more polarizing. Right. It'd be more polarizing. Where this movie shouldn't have people hating it and loving it.
Because if you take it for what it is, a 70s disaster movie, it's not hateful.
Yeah,
it's just like all the disaster movies of that time.
Its only crime is being.
I think there are parts of it that make it better than other disaster movies. This guy mentions, unlike Armageddon and Deep Impact, at least this one sticks to the story. You may see Vallywood and Sean Connery kiss once, but it's not like the love story had to.
And it wasn't even a love story.
Overshadow anything else.
They kissed when they're covered in poo, weren't they?
Yeah. It was, that was at the airport that they kissed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he just smelled of poo stuff.
Yeah.
It was still under his fingernails.
Oh, that was the best. I cannot believe they got covered in poo.
Oh, they got a lot of poo.
And,
I think maybe when we were recording, we might have mentioned that too.
Once or twice we probably did allude to the fact that they had been covered in poo.
But I don't know. That movie was all right, but it wasn't great.
No, I guess a reviewer
has to find fault.
A critic has to be critical, but like it was, you can't just say meh if you're trying to make a review. So
that's exactly pretty much my reaction to it. It was pretty meh, except for the poo and the New York story. And even the avalanche was kind of cool.
This reviewer says the same things that we did. The film kicks off with the title credits, which managed to rip off both Star Wars and Superman. We said the same thing. And,
Zardoz, slow, getting interesting, bringing up good points. File failed. We couldn't see the end.
But I don't think it was slow. I think it was.
But that's why you don't hate the movie.
It languished in its own opulence of set design and theme, but at no point was it boring. Like if you say like, oh, they were boring parts, and you go, which part where they were showing him softcore porn? Well, that went on for a while. Or how about the times where like each thing was pretty interesting. They did show him
shoot those people when he's riding a horse about 8,000 times, and
showed
him his net raping a few times. It was a lot, or him just lying on a bed surrounded by naked people on walls for some reason.
But that was a very just set piece and
that's the thing.
Beautiful.
They stayed too long.
Lingered a bit.
That's what they lingered a bit too long in every single scene.
And you are correct. Like I said, if Zardoz were to be remade, and I think it's a perfect candidate for a remake. Because they wouldn't have to. Today, you could say what they were trying to say without hiding it under so many levels. Because if you tried to make that movie today, you could just go, listen, we're kind of critiquing people who follow a religion, and maybe people should do a little thinking.
And critiquing the 1%ers who think they're better than everybody else, and science who think we're going to fix everything by curing death, and then creates a whole new set of problems.
All the themes there, you could do it now and not have to hide it so that the Catholic Church wouldn't crush it or establishment wouldn't think it was too hot to handle.
But then
you can't make that movie. What are you crazy?
As we said, there'd be a lot more guns and a lot less boobs.
And that was my point, that if you did do a remake, like you said, they chased down and killed a bunch of brutals, and and Sean Connery broke out the rape net a couple times. And today, those scenes looked almost silly because the actors weren't. It wasn't a peck and paw movie where you saw a squib go off, and they basically they would run down the beach, guy on a horse would point a gun in his general direction,
usually at his ass for some reason,
and then the stuntman would just topple over and
almost get run over by horses multiple times.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah, they fell right in front of the horses. That was a safety concern, I'm sure, but.
They were so high on blow and sex, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Did you see that? That guy was trampled by a horse. But you are correct that those scenes were not up to snuff, but I think I know why. They barely were able to make the movie because they weren't allowed to get guns into Ireland.
Yeah.
So, I don't imagine they could get away with much more than the...
But nowadays, it would be much more torture porn and that kind of shit. And
it wouldn't have to be.
And there was no way that they'd have Zed raping people as the hero. No way they'd allow that nowadays. Yeah, they couldn't have your hero raping someone nowadays.
I think
there's no way they'd allow it.
It was integral to the story, and probably...
I don't think they do it. I don't think they'd ever do it.
You can't.
But they were showing him as a
I understand why they did it. I just don't think they'd allow it.
Animal, and he was just following orders.
Yeah, I know. I just
he was getting all Nuremberg-y.
I know, but I just don't think I agree with it. He would never be the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
But the point is that he then
I understand why.
And
I get it.
He evolves outside.
It makes sense, but I just don't think in today's society
that would never be accepted as a movie that could play.
They'd make any studio would make them cut that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, with the surge in the feminist movement and everything like that. You don't think?
Oh, that movie would have protesters out front constantly if they let the hero rape people.
Throw a net on.
I think even Clockwork Orange wouldn't be made nowadays. They couldn't make Clockwork Orange for the same reason. There's no way that the hero could be that bad. They wouldn't let him.
Oh yeah, when he's attacking old people.
Yeah, and raping that lady with the giant phallic statue. No, they wouldn't. today society would never allow that shit, which is stupid. Because, like you say, it's integral to the story. But
It is, because that's how they show he's basically just an animal that is being a puppet.
And like you say, during the movie, he
My God.
gets more and more clothes on, showing he's becoming more civilized. By the end, he's totally clothed.
At the beginning of the movie, he doesn't say one word.
Yep, he doesn't talk at all
He doesn't
for the
talk
first probably
because he's-
half hour at least.
He's probably accustomed to being told exactly what to do and doing it and not needing to verbalize,
And there was an M. Night Shyamalan twist where it was all part of his plan to get in there.
which they reveal pretty, like, they don't show him as a part of his team stowing away, but then he goes up to the dome and gives them the old hand signal, and then you're like, oh, he's not alone. This is part of a
But
bigger
even when
plot.
he did that, not knowing what was happening, I didn't think that. I thought he was just like waving to his buddies, going, "Hey, look at I'm in here." I didn't think there was a giant plan going on.
Big F you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why I thought he was like,
I'm on this side
I'm
eating ice
in the
cream,
vortex.
bitches.
yeah.
Look at you, you're on the outside riding your horses.
I
and
didn't
using
know
rednecks.
there was a big plan for him to take down the walls and destroy society.
Oh, well, because he gets there, he does the hand signals, they shoot a flare, like, we understand, and I'm like, oh, that's what, for
See,
me, it dawned on, like, oh,
yeah.
he's, he wanted to see the gods,
Yeah.
he wants to kill the gods.
Yes.
And that's when I was like, it's
It's
gonna
all
get,
like Donkey Kong. But then he betrays his intentions, though, because he runs off with a god and bears a child. And
but again, the time in the movie at that point is when he actually starts,
he's gone so past his brutality
yeah,
that he realizes that destroying them is not the way to go.
but
But the plan had already been put into motion. He
the
couldn't
plan
stop
had
it.
already been put into motion, and they were begging for it at that point.
Some of them. Consuela didn't want to die. I know May wanted to die. Like, there's a few that didn't want to die.
Well, if you watch further on, after that movie, after it stops,
They were kind of welcoming death.
some of them were just welcoming any kind of action because they were so bored.
Yeah.
Some of them wanted death. Some of them fought back, but it didn't last long.
So that's Zardoz. And then lastly was Time Bandits. We lost Carl. He had a emergency to go address. So Abby and I finished it, but
I started it, but
you were called away to business.
business,
Dirty, sinful business.
dirty, terrible, simple business.
But Time Bandits was fun. Not much of a
It
story.
was.
It was kind of just a travel log of time traveling. Connery wasn't in it that much.
No.
Although he was the end, the creepy fireman.
I thought he was adorable in Time Bandits. He was like, wink. I just killed your parents. Wink.
Yeah. What an amazing ending to that movie.
Mom? Dad?
I make it back home. My house is on fire. Sean Connery saves me and then leaves me after my parents explode in a burning husk of a house. The end. That's how the movie ended.
Yeah. It ends, he has no family.
Well, before that, God's a douche, and
Yeah.
the one dwarf's like, shouldn't Kevin be rewarded? Yeah, sure, I'll send him back to his home where it's burning. So Time Man is fun stuff. Great CGI dwarfs.
It was, rather than a story to tell or much in the way of writing, it was a lot of yelling and falling and antics. Rather than character development, it was dwarves being dumped onto the decks of ships, dwarves yelling and screaming and running in circles.
Dwarves falling from everywhere, falling onto things.
And then more
Yeah,
yelling
punching
and
each other,
screaming,
yeah.
and then move to the next scene. Oh, we're in.
And there wasn't character development until the one dwarf got crushed by that pillar.
I know, and then...
We're like, stunned. One dwarf got crushed, and then the other dwarf freaks out.
Because they were best dwarf friends, I think.
But we never knew that.
No.
That was where the character development started, because he freaked out when his buddy.
Maybe if you'd been paying attention during the dwarves jumping off of things and dwarves piling into things, you would have seen like a glistening in like a glint in the eyes. They look at each other. Maybe their hands stretch out and touch fingertips momentarily as an ogre repeatedly picks up a child, and they're all screaming.
And, generally pretty fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Entertaining.
I was entertained.
A lot of great cameos by
Yes.
Pythons.
Yes.
John Cleese as the really funny Robin Hood. Where he's just like, thank you for this donation.
Right.
What? And then Michael Palin just keeps showing up as a fop.
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall is his girlfriend he keeps trying to propose to, but the dwarves keep fucking it up.
And she was beautiful in that movie.
She was a hottie, yeah.
They certainly went out of their way to make sure she was...
By covering her hair always. So maybe she's bald, I don't know.
Pulled right back,
yeah.
Her eyes were just...
They made her even freakier than she actually is. Yeah, and then, Connery as Agamemnon. Fun, but short. I wouldn't even call this a Connery movie. But
Yeah.
Time Bandits was crazy, 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 and then the end was just like, wow, big F you to God. I can't... That end of that movie was so stunning that we were shocked. We're like, what? That's the end?
His parents are dead. He has no
I expected them to turn evil or something, and the dwarves would have to come save him again or something. But no, they just exploded.
Like, if he was just sitting on the curb crying, and then all of a sudden you see peeking out from behind a garbage can, you can come with us, Billy.
Exactly.
Oh, but my parents are dead.
He never liked his parents. He wanted to stay with Agamemnon.
Your parents aren't dead. In the past. And then also you see Einstein's head pop out. We gotta return Einstein to his time. Come on!
Not Bill and Ted.
I know, seriously.
What? Terry Gilliam would never have gone that route. No, I'm sorry.
Because that was Bill and Ted.
But the point is, all he had to
I've
do...
never seen Bill and Ted.
Seriously?
No, not seriously.
Okay.
He says that about every movie now. But
most of them I haven't, though, so...
But just to leave him standing in front of a burning husk of his house with smoking things that used to be his parents, and Sean Connery just giving him a look and driving off, not even taking him with him.
I know.
The dwarves didn't come back to go, we'll take you back to Agamemnon to be happy. Nothing. He just left.
He's just standing there.
He's just kind of like, nothing like he's wearing whatever he was wearing, like a house coat. And he's got his little bag and he's got some pictures.
Yeah.
And he's just staring at his burning
house. He looks at the
house.
pictures like, wait, that firefighter looks familiar.
Yeah. But he's just left there. That's it.
House on fire, parents dead.
God screwed him.
See ya, orphan.
Ding, ding.
Pretty much. He gave a wink like, yeah, your parents are dead.
He's off in the distance.
And then before that, Deus Ex Machina, literally, he walks in, kills the bad guy, God, and just tells the dwarves, oh, it was all part of my plan that you stole this map. And I was just testing some shit out.
You didn't steal it,
I let you take it, yeah. He was a real jerk. And then Kevin's like, what about all those dead people? Yeah, that is. And then he's just like, and then God wasn't even gonna send Kevin back to his house. He left him in that place.
Right.
And then he gassed him. And then he woke up in his home that was on fire. Like, it was crazy. And it all happened because he had the pictures. It wasn't like it was a dream.
Right.
It all happened.
As in, like, a smoke inhalation or something, and they pull him out and he wakes up, I had a dream. No, you just almost died.
Yeah.
He
had the pictures, so it all happened.
Yeah, he was standing there holding the pictures.
And his parents exploded by touching a piece of the evil.
The evil that was in the microwave that had started the fire.
Makes no sense. And, but that movie, what an ending. Like, the rest of it's like farce.
Right,
it's all
you're
fun.
Like, oh, this is silly. Oh,
and even the bad guy was funny and silly.
Yeah, you're like...
Until the end, you're like, wow. Terry Gilliam had something to say about God here. How, even if you're the best of intentions, you could be the best person ever, and God will still fuck you over. It was, wow. Like, the kid's probably better off without those parents, but still.
And
now he's got nothing. He's like 8 years old,
could have been,
and he's got nothing.
And he could have been with Agamemnon as a prince.
Yeah. He could have stayed in the past.
Yeah.
And not to get all Bill and Ted, but it could have been like a little roller coaster of emotion at the end, rather than just a soul crushing defeat.
They should, like you say, they should have had the dwarves pop out and go, we'll take you back to Agamemnon, it's all good. But no, it was just like, literally I'm standing there and it just zoomed out. And it zoomed out past Earth, like, you know how it zoomed in at the beginning? It zoomed out and it was just...
Or if
him just standing there.
Connery, as the firefighter, was like, took him in, and that was...
Even if he just, like, wrapped a blanket around him
something.
and showed some sort
not
of...
even. Thing. Yeah, there wasn't even any...
No! He literally got in the fire truck...
and drove off.
Driving off, turns around, and is like, wink!
Yeah, it was
What does
crazy.
that mean? Like, why would you wink at him? His family's dead.
But what if, now if you think about it and you have to give a little, credit to Terry Gilliam. What if that wink show is, you don't immediately see it, Kevin doesn't immediately see it, what if that's him saying, buddy, it's going to be all right. You're not alone, we know.
It was more of a taunt.
It was a taunting wink.
Oh, okay.
It was more like, yeah, I know I look like Agamemnon. I'm not taking you with me.
Yeah.
You're not saying
or
that
it was like, you're welcome for killing your parents.
Yeah.
Like, it was just...
That's what you wanted, right?
Or we could...
Right. By asking to live with me in the past.
No, but this is what... Maybe
dead.
the kid did die by smoke inhalation, and this was his last dream. And that's when it was zooming out, was his soul going to heaven.
Maybe.
And then God's like, no, you go to hell.
Yeah.
Why? Because I can, I'm a bitch.
That's it. You asked me, because he was... Remember the dwarf's like, don't ask him that. He's like, no, I'm going to ask him why all these people died. Because the kid was like... He was pissed. The kid was pissed that God had killed all these people for no reason.
Kid had more of a moral
the dwarves
compass than God did. Like, he was more like, hey, this is wrong.
Even more than dwarves. Dwarves were just like, yeah, you got us. We tried to rebel, and it was all part of your plan, so we're coming back to be your angels again. Building. And they got demoted to being undergrowth, because they used to build trees, and now they have to do the undergrowth. That was their whole punishment. Dwarves went back.
So they were the fallen angels who rebelled against God.
Stole his map and ran away from him, yeah.
Much like
and God was chasing them the whole time. That was that giant head.
Yeah, and that part's pretty biblical. That's pretty...
There was definitely a...
I'm just wondering... like,
and the ancient evil was like Satan, who was already fallen. He was like... Or Lucifer, I guess. The first to fall kind of thing.
Yeah. So that... Maybe...
So that would make what's his name, Satan? The head dwarf. What was his name? Reginald or whatever his name was.
Reginald.
He would have been Satan in this story. But then then they go back. So it a little expands on the mythology that they go back to.
Yeah. But they're still punished.
Oh yeah, they got sent to the undergrowth.
So they're down below now.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not. Through God's mercy, they weren't just vaporized.
Yeah.
They weren't made to touch a microwave. But
yeah.
But they were still punished in the under.
Yeah, it's true. I guess it is the story of the fall.
I'm just gonna say it again. Maybe at the end, Sean Connery's wink was like, "It looks bad. You're suffering now, Job, but bing, you'll get your hundreds of thousands of heads of camels, your oxen, your donkeys, and your family."
I think
back
most likely Kevin's going to spend a lot of time in psychiatric care if he survives, or he's just going to slit his own wrists. And that's how this movie ends. He had everything taken away from him and was left with nothing.
So did Job.
And he would have been like, but I traveled through time and met dwarves and stuff. And then they'd be like, wow, he's psychically, he's scarred from this, seeing his parents die in a fire.
We could have our own Arkham-esque movie asylum where they pan by. It's the two cops that will refuse to believe Lawnmower Man did it, and then you see Kevin in there doing his
he's just rocking back and forth, going, "The dwarves are real. The dwarves are real.
They'll be back. They'll take me back through time.
I'll go back to Agamemnon.
I want to meet Hercules, and I want to go see the Man in the Moon, and I want to go see. And then, okay, kid, whatever. Just keep walking by.
Yep. Then you can scroll by. We went through two different dimensions. We're astronauts. Yeah, whatever, psychos. Nobody would let you run a ship. You're all, what are you, friends with Ernest Borgnine?
We went to heaven on the Palomino. Oh, really?
Palomino's a horse.
Yeah, you've been here the whole time.
Yeah. And then, so...
Hey, Anthony Perkins, we got another sell for you, because we got another couple movies.
Yeah.
You're not right.
It's a...
No. Yeah, the ending. And Meteor, the ending, is certainly not at the same caliber as Zardoz and...
Well, the end, yeah. Well, I liked it.
Natalie Wood gets on an airplane.
You'll see him again. Maybe.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. I thought she was going to defect.
Yeah, because she didn't go immediately. Yeah. Like, she's not going. She's staying.
And I thought the because of all the shit that went down, that the scientists would be like, okay, I'm not going to even try to get you to go with me.
You're inner fan of romance. You're the soft squishiness of your heart.
Inside, I wish it had been a happy ending. Instead, she went back to become a baby factory in.
She probably just drifted around wherever the tide took her. You
didn't hear that joke.
But I also think
I heard it.
I think that the proper ending for that would be Sean Connery goes home. His wife / ex-wife, whatever it was, starts ragging out on him again, and he's like, "Bitch, I saved the world. I was covered in feces, literally, just head to toe. It went in my mouth. Okay, stop being such a bitch." And then a dwarf peeks out from around like an ottoman and goes, "Hey, buddy, come on with us. You ever want to see Gardens of Babylon?" "I do." And he just goes.
See, my ending for Meteor is he goes home, and he brought with him a little chunk of the meteor that hit New York. He had his memento, and she starts bitching at him, and he just brains her with it. He's
smashes her right in the skull.
"That's the last person killed by a meteor on my watch." And then he's thrown in the insane asylum with the rest of them.
Smash! They show the two cops. "Looks like an accident to me. Meteor hit her. I don't know. I can't imagine."
You hit a lot of people around here just recently.
Your hand covered in blood doesn't make me suspicious at all. In fact, I'm going to say it probably came in through that open window, hit her right in the head. She toppled down. She's been laying here for days.
Kevin's like, "But no, he killed her." Whatever, kid. Go back to your burning parents.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that Meteor's ending was pretty nondescript because it was supposed to be a present day look at Russia. You couldn't then, it would not have made sense if she was allowed to stay. She couldn't defect. And it wouldn't have made sense that, for realism's sake, and I think they didn't dwell too long on the personal aspect. The Meteor was the star of the movie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And to then Shanghai the last third act just for
there was no love story.
Wouldn't have been true.
It was almost like an anti-love story where he was hitting on the girl and she didn't reciprocate in any way.
But he was...
And then he stole a kiss at the very end.
Yeah, she was flirting, but in a very dour way. And he was flirting in a very grotesque 70s American way.
He was just like, "Hey, baby, I know you're going to sleep with me eventually.
Yeah, you want a piece of this. Here, right here.
Check out this fringe."
I'm pointing at my balls. And she's just she's fingering a tuna fish sandwich.
That's true, she did. In Russia, tuna fish fingers you.
What a country! So I think that was the best ending. It has closure.
Like you say, it wasn't about the love story at all.
No,
they could have had a love story in that whole thing, but they didn't bother.
No, the Meteor was the star.
Yeah, Carl Malden.
The rockets played second fiddle, I think, to
the
Meteor.
Penis rockets flying into the vaginal-shaped meteor. Yeah.
Penis rockets.
Because didn't you notice the meteor had a bit of a indent, it was kind of like this.
A little. Your hands. Stop that with hands. Stop that. I'm uncomfortable. Stop that with your hands.
Anyways,
no, I didn't notice that at all.
Watch it again. There's a bit of a.
I'm not watching it again.
Watch that again.
Meteor.
Why?
We should watch all 3 movies again.
No.
And we'd still, at the end, we still wouldn't see the end of Zardoz.
Literally, the science guy, he takes they have the vortex in their hand, and they hid it away from him, because he said that they would program themselves not to remember, but the vortex was knowledge, so as soon as he touched it, he remembered what he was programmed not to, and then he knows how to destroy it, and without the vortex...
Everybody's mortal.
They're not mortal, they just can't communicate. That was the kind of the brain that connected their thoughts. Yeah. So they were independent, and once they had independent thought, and they were able to... Then they decided almost their own fates.
And without the vortex resurrecting them all the time, they could die. So that's the vortex brought them back, right?
Yeah, it rebuilt them. So when they died, they weren't rebuilt, and then...
Did Friend get killed?
Oh, everyone gets massacred.
Except for Sean Connery and Consuela?
Yep.
What a name. Why would they call her Consuela?
That is an interesting question, and I've always... Because it's supposed to be future Earth, because when...
So you think that's... All of a sudden Consuela came around as being a name that was popular? It's like Ashley or Madison or...
Follow this line of thinking. They took the best and brightest, and I think adding Consuela there, and I think there was no blacks. There was no blacks.
You're right, actually.
It is a very white movie.
But it does imply that Spanish people were not, excluded. If you were the smartest of the smart, she was allowed to be there because she was the top echelons of the educated. And I just think it was a nod to say that not everyone's a Nordic, Caucasian.
And yet they wiped out all the African Americans.
Yeah.
It's like, what's it called? People make fun of Starship Troopers because of that. Where it's everybody's white and like Aryan. And it's like, well, that's the point. They wiped out everyone else. There's a reason why all the people living in, I think they're from Sao Paulo or somewhere in Brazil, that they're all these white kids. It's because it means that they wiped out all the indigenous people, and these people live there now.
Well,
that was but everybody was like, oh, they're trying to say it's like a mistake because they're all. No, that's the point. It's a fascist society where they wiped out everybody who wasn't like them.
Little eugenics.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
So I'm just going to say that I think is a nod, was an inclusion of, I don't know how many African Americans lived in
I'm sure
Ireland at the time. So
I'm sure they didn't purposely take out African Americans, it's just they didn't have African American actors.
But then they could also say, well,
it's easy to call her Consuela, and she had darker hair, and you can see how she could have been of Spanish descent, whereas it's hard to just call someone Rakisha and...
Hey, Lamont.
Yeah.
Get over here.
Some white Irish guy. It's easier to just call someone something to include them where it's not a visible minority as much as being African.
And that's just my take, and that's just, there could be a deeper meaning.
It could be his wife's name was Consuela and he wanted to call someone Consuela. It could be simple as that too.
And maybe it's a kind of a, maybe the source material he used as his inspirations, or he was a subtle nod, I don't know, but I just thought that was a way of saying, you know what?
I can see that.
It's not...
We're not all English here.
And the people on the outside of the wall, you don't see a lot of... There wasn't black people out there, because then you...
There was a lot of people in...
Right.
Little bald...
Oh, that's another thing. And remember in freaking the end of Time Bandits? All of a sudden these cowboys run. They bring to fight the evil. They bring people from all different times. They bring knights, they bring cowboys, they bring archers...
A tank.
Agamemnon, a tank. Agamemnon never showed up. I expected him to show up at that point. Yeah, they brought a tank, which didn't help. But when the moment the cowboys come out, they're going, "It's time for a lynching." They actually yelled that.
Yeah.
And roped up the bad guy, and then they all got killed. But it was still, that's what they yelled. That was their battle cry. It's time for a lynching.
It's time for a lynching.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were like, I can't believe they said that.
Not yeehaw.
No. It was their battle cry was, it's time for a lynching.
Yeah.
They got destroyed, right away.
Oh, yeah. They were the first to die.
And then one of the dwarves came in on a laser bike, which is fun to see. That's how we ended up... That's why he was pissed, because he shut... The Supreme Evil was able to deflect everything. Everything just bounced off him. So one dwarf shot the laser, bounced off, and hit a pole, and the pole landed on another one of the dwarves. That's why he was so upset. Because he pretty much killed his own friend. But then the friend got resurrected by God at the end of it.
Yeah.
That was the only thing God did that was nice.
Yeah, he did.
But notice after he did, he goes, they're like, well, what about Tiny or whatever his name was? And he's like, yeah, it's better not to let good resources go to waste or something like that. He's pretty much saying, I'm resurrecting for the manpower, not because I like him. He was even a dick when he resurrected him.
Yeah. God was a dick in that movie. I'm just gonna say it.
Because, how he's a floating head through the whole thing. All of a sudden he turns into a British guy in a suit. And he walks out and he goes, I hate when I have to take human form or something like that. It feels so crappy. Something such. And then he walks and that's when he kills the bad guy, and and all the dwarves start worship, getting on their knees and bowing to him, and Kevin's just he's looking around what the fuck? It was a trippy end to that movie. It was you could see Gilliam had something to say, and he tricked you into making it almost like a kid's movie the whole way. And the knights, when the knights fought the bad guy, there's smoke, and you couldn't really see much because there's smoke. The smoke clears, all the knights are in speared on their own lances into almost like a tree. Oh. But it was all the tree of dead bodies. It was wow, this isn't a kid's movie at the end here.
Taking a dark turn.
Oh, super dark turn. Even there was other Napoleon. Remember, they were lining people up and shooting them.
Yeah, executing people.
It's holy crap, this is not a kid's movie. Yeah, that end of that movie was super crazy.
And we pause now for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Verb, the Vinnland Entertainment Review Board.
Dead Zone, the podcast. The first podcast dedicated to Dead Zone, the war game. Join us every month for news and reports on the upcoming Mantic title. Join the Dead Zone. DeadZoneGame.podbean.com.
We now return to Verb, the Vinnland Entertainment Review Board. As the trilogy of Connery movies that we had chosen, I'm gonna do a ranking,
Okay.
and I'm going to say Zardoz first, Meteor second, Time Bandits third.
I assume you're the exact opposite.
Yes. Tide Bandits would be first, Meteor second, Zardoz third.
I think if Meteor hadn't destroyed New York City and covered themselves in poo, it would have been last. But those two events, they might have turned me back to that movie. So yeah, Zardoz, I think it's a good movie. It just wasn't executed correctly. Like, I think it had good themes and a good storyline. I just wish it had been done better. So it'll have to be last for that. So I think it will be Time Bandits, Meteor. But how about stamps? Are all these able to be shown in Vinnland?
That's a bold statement there. I believe at one point last night, at one point during the filming or the recording, I gave stamps, but I don't remember what for.
You gave stamps to Zardoz and Meteor. You gave a stamp approval to both of them.
Okay.
And you did give a stamp approval to something else. I think it was, I can't remember what it was.
Was it the Rape Net?
Yeah,
No.
no. Why does that sound like RapeNet? Doesn't it sound like a website
Oh, I'm sure it is. Sadly.
rapists go to?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like buy your balaclavas, 50% off. Book, How to Rape.
Raping for beginners.
Yeah, raping for beginners.
When she says no, she really means yes.
And, yeah, raping for dummies, but that goes without saying.
Yeah.
And then, how to drown out the sound of a rape whistle.
Yeah, like do-it-yourself section. How do you make a rape whistle muzzle? Anyways, RapeNet is not what we're going to talk about.
That was sick.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, out of all three movies, I think they're all accepted to be shown in Vinnland.
I would
Time
never
Bandits is
show
a
Zardoz again.
history.
I think it should be destroyed.
She didn't like Zardoz. I guess Zardoz is not going to be screening in Wisconsin anytime soon.
Nope. It's banned from Wisconsin.
I think there should be a remake.
Yeah, I think Zardoz could use a remake, an update. It's not a classic by any stretch of imagination,
But it's got enough
so-
themes and like they could make it good.
Yeah. But as a whole now, for the whole evening, I think we could have done a lot of other things that would have been more entertaining and probably better use of our time. So I might have to unstamp our wasted evening.
But the whole point of this is not a waste. We have to determine if they're being shown in Vinnland.
And I have to determine whether
That is a good use of your time. Are you quitting Verb?
I'm just saying that that was a long stretch of
3 was biting off more than we should have probably. Yeah.
When it did fail, when the recording that we had failed at the end, I think that's where aggravation
It
had
took
reached
a,
its crescendo, because that's when Abby lashed out, and I didn't know that this is her opinion of the movie
until it, yeah. What the fuck? I think there was a good theme out of all the movies about how God is a douche. All 3 movies.
Yeah, actually, all 3 movies have like real douchey gods.
Meteor God is a concept, I guess. He didn't come to help when the meteor was about to crush the planet.
No.
But in the other 2, it's directly, there is gods who are douches directly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And especially in Time Bandits, it proves that evil and the god and or the supreme being and the ultimate evil are pretty much
He
both
created,
assholes.
he created the ultimate evil so that.
No, ultimate evil was around before God, according to Ultimate Evil. That's
Wow.
what he said.
Yeah, but then God comes in and goes, poof,
Yeah.
I just was playing with this, something new.
Yeah. At the end, God comes in and just literally Deus Ex Machina, the evil guy, just turned him into stone and blew him up. And then the little kid's like, what about all those people that died because you made this experiment? He's like, hey, you gotta break a few eggs. And then the dwarves, who were angels, went back with God, and Kevin was left in his burning house. That was the end. It's like, wow.
And Sean Connery winks at him. Wink.
A great ending of that movie would have been if Kevin then looks over at his grandfather and says, "Read it, can you read that again?" And you see Columbo's looking at him, but he's fully engulfed in flames.
As you wish.
As you wish. But meanwhile, he's in flames, because you can't.
It was a crazy ending to a movie. And, yes, Terry Gilliam threw that movie, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
But having seen more recent Terry Gilliam movies, that was a very tame. Like, I think he's gotten bolder as the years go by.
This was early. This is one of his early movies.
And that was my point.
But it's still crazy. Like, Brazil is after this, and it was even crazier. And it just goes on. Anyways, so, these movies, Connery, he lost some of his luster watching these movies, that's for damn sure.
Oh, God, yeah. It'll be a long time before I can sit down in front of a Sean Connery flick again.
I wonder if we watched James Bond now.
Or Highlander 2.
If we watched, like, Dr. No, and we were like, okay, let's watch, and instead of, like, being into a Bond movie, seeing
just seeing Sean Connery.
Just watching his acting chops. If we just don't go, why didn't we see it before?
Or Highlander, even. Like, Highlander where he's,
Ramirez?
Playing a Scottish guy, playing a Spanish guy against a French guy, playing a Scottish guy.
Yeah.
Still a great movie.
Because maybe it's all the script. Like, maybe he's not actually acting in anything we've ever seen him in.
Yeah.
He just has awesome lines to say.
Yeah.
Like in James Bond, a lot of that is going to be the script, the villains, the story.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Last
Crusade.
Never seen it.
You've never seen Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
Not the one with the old, no, the one with his dad.
Why have you not seen that?
Why would I have?
Because it's the second best one.
I saw the first best one. Quit while you're ahead.
Don't say Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom's the third best one.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is the first best one,
Yeah.
right? Okay. As long as...
And then Crystal Skull is not a movie.
No, it doesn't count.
No, he wasn't in Crystal Skull.
No.
He was supposed to, but he didn't do it.
Well, he must have saw the script.
Well, he retired after doing League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because he thought it was so bad. That was his last movie, although he's doing an animated movie.
Although, I'm just going to be honest with you, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is better than Crystal Skull.
Oh,
yeah.
Easy. No, that's not a question.
No, I don't believe there's anyone on the planet who would argue otherwise.
Okay.
There probably is, but not
I know,
me.
and I don't know why. But...
Well, then, get on your emails and send me an email, and please enlighten me as to how Crystal Skull was not infinitely worse than League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah. Vinnland Oldtime Radio at gmail.com.
And please mention Shia LaBeouf as many times as you can, because it's that warms the cockles of my heart if someone uses that as any kind of talking point.
We should watch Crystal Skull, because I have a lot to say about that movie, because it could be a good movie.
Oh, well, I watched up until, I think it was probably the last 15, 20 minutes, and I had to turn it off. I was just like, no, I'm not.
No, it gets worse in the last 15,
Yeah,
20 minutes. That's where
shit.
you seriously... You can't understand how it's even in the Indiana Jones franchise. Like I can't fathom why they thought that was okay.
That's what Fat Beard Neck had his say.
And we have we should watch it because there is a lot to say about that movie, and I do have a lot to say about that movie.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I hate myself that I saw it in the theater. I hate myself for that.
I saw it on a premiere in London, England.
Yeah, I hate myself.
We're gonna sit through a movie that they couldn't even just drive vehicles through a jungle. They had to CGI an entire just driving because they needed monkeys flopping around in there.
Yeah.
And they needed.
And
we're gonna sit through that.
Huh?
We're gonna sit through that.
Yeah, because imagine what we could say about that.
I was disappointed in our loss of an evening due to Sean Connery's incompetence. I cannot, in good
Last night.
conscience.
Did you have fun, Andy?
I had fun.
We had nice drinks.
Oh, we drank.
We drank a lot.
Anyway, so that was the Connery-a-thon. We shan't be doing that again.
No.
Although a Terry Gilliam-a-thon, I know what I would choose.
Yeah, the one you told me about.
Yeah.
I would choose myself.
And what would you choose, Abby?
Terry Gilliam?
I don't know.
Time
Bandits.
Maybe Earl would actually watch it.
What's that other one?
Holy Grail?
No.
He only directed the...
12 Monkeys?
I love 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. Yeah.
I love that. There's nothing bad we could say about that.
I don't know.
There's nothing good we could say about that.
That's probably the other movies are so good.
What are you talking about? You don't know. There's nothing bad to say about 12 Monkeys. It's amazing.
That's when
I think they miscast Stowe in it. She shouldn't have.
Oh God, she's obnoxious. But Bruce Willis was excellent.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt was beyond excellent
that was
in
probably
that
the best.
movie.
But that's
the
my
best
only problem
Pitt I've ever seen.
is what's her name? That's my only problem.
Yeah, because she's annoying and I don't like her.
Okay, Fear and Loathing, he directed. What else?
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Can't say anything bad about Fear
Holy
and
Grail,
Loathing.
he directed the animated parts. Jabberwocky.
That's the movie. Was that the movie I was thinking of?
That came before Time Bandits.
Because that is awesome. We have watched it.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Jabberwocky?
No. I've never seen Time Bandits till today. Brazil, Baron Munchausen.
Yeah, Baron Munchausen.
Fisher King, 12 Monkeys, Fear and Loathing, Brothers Grimm, which is actually a good movie. Tideland, is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah.
No. Was it? Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. And then he's got some more coming up.
But, okay, well, so I would choose Tideland, you would choose Brazil, and Abby still has not decided what it is. You just have to run down which movie is it that you would...
Fear and Loathing, or Baron Munchausen, or Jabberwocky, or...
like, I own Jabberwocky. I can go... I own 3 movies, and one of them is Jabberwocky. So,
really?
Like, we could just...
We should have watched Outland for Connery. That's a good movie, Connery. It's Connery at his Connery-ness. It's a space guy.
If it would redeem him from what we just sat through, then I might need to watch it one day.
It was good.
I don't know what I would pick because I like half those movies that all the ones I've seen. I like them. I like him as a director.
I've never seen Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus with
Me
Heath
neither.
Ledger's Leslie.
Yeah, where they have to... Yeah.
He changes to Johnny Depp.
From what I hear, it's just a terrible movie.
Gilliam is a bit up his own ass sometimes, and it's just chaos. But when it works great.
So I would probably want to watch that because I've never seen it.
Yeah. And it could be a shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next weekend we're going to watch...
Gilliam-a-thon? No.
The Gilliam... What?
I think we're going to have to not watch 3 movies for a while.
Yeah.
So there you go. We'll never watch 3 movies back to back again.
No, I think...
It took 20 minutes between each movie's breaks.
We took breaks in the movies.
Yeah, we did take breaks in the movies, so I think if we started
That might
earlier,
have something to do with the excessive amount that we were drinking.
Yes.
Well, plus, yeah.
If we were to start earlier, a little more...
coherent? Yeah. It was fun times, just chaos. And until next time, I'm War and Peace.
I'm Abby Normal.
And I'm Carl Gustav.
Be safe, Vinnland. Don't worship God. There you have it. We'll be back another time to review another movie to see if it's acceptable for the masses.
This has been Verb, Vinnland Entertainment Review Board. Please follow us on Twitter at
VinlandOTR.
And feel free to email us at
VinlandOldTimeRadio@gmail.com.
Thank you, and good night.
Bye-bye.
What do you listen to on your iPod while we're chanting?
I listen to Vinnland Old Time Radio. VinlandOldTimeRadio.podbean.com. Wow.
Because
He was sneaking past...
the Apathetics and the Renegades were sneaking him past Charlotte's
So he had to wear a
murderous
dress?
Rob.
Consuela tried to kill him. What?
So he had to wear a dress?
Well,
Like a
He had to
wedding
hide him.
dress?
How else are you going to hide him? He had a veil. When else do you wear a
He
veil?
walked through the whole movie with a loincloth on. Just putting regular clothes on him, people would have been like, oh, who's that guy? I don't recognize him.
I can't see his giant bulge.